So today we're going to be talking about lead magnets. And we kind of said in the age of AI, but really we're going to talk about it. And I think it would be interesting to hear what all of us think is like how we perceive a lead magnet to be, what our thoughts are on it. Um, Lovely audience, you're very welcome to also uh, share your thoughts in the chat as well. But what do you guys consider a lead magnet? And uh, do you have one that you'd want to share as an example with the audience? I'm curious.
I do just want to maybe start off with discussing like the fact that I only started using lead magnets when I got to Beehive. I think
Ooh,
um you can do a lead magnet with Substack. It would just mean that like your welcome message has the same delivery of the lead magnet, no matter who signs up or where they sign up at, versus having different forms with different lead magnets. I'm interested to see if that changes with Substack as they're continuing to grow the features around the platform. I think automations are going to be coming soon. Some other things are going to be coming soon in terms of functionality. So it'll be interesting to see how people leverage lead magnets. I feel like lead magnets in general, you know, lean itself to more of the business end of writing versus the creative end of writing. Like if you are a romance author, right? Or if you are a narrative writer, or if you're someone who I would say it applies to food writing, but in any case, if you're doing something that's a little more personal and less business focused, like less business and creative oriented the way we are, it's like what would you give, in exchange for signing up? Um, and I think, for me, it was like, well, how can I leverage a lead magnet to give people a taste of my course? How can I leverage a lead magnet to answer, some of the most asked questions I get on the newsletter? And so those are my ideas around lead magnets. But, when I first started, I was doing a lot of different stuff just to see what stuck, just to see what resonated with people, just to see what I liked and was really drawn to writing. And I think it would have been a much harder question to answer. It just wasn't even something that was on my mind the first year of writing my newsletter.
Corey, what about you?
I'm starting the process of trying to figure out what lead magnets fit in what I'm doing. I'm, as you guys, I told, I'm working on my consulting side of my business again, revamping that. So I've just been trying to figure out how to do that, create some kind of lead magnet for that. As far as for the newsletter, I mean, I never really needed one. It just, either it's for you or it's not, and people just sign up for it as long as they know about it. And for the BPA, I'm actually working with somebody right now to start setting all that stuff up so that we can get more people involved in that community. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like how does lead magnets actually work from a community point of view. Um, but we're working on that. We're trying to figure out the right strategy for that.
Okay, so I have a completely different take on this, which is I think that when people talk about lead magnets, a lot of times, especially since all of us have newsletters, we lead with the newsletter. But to me, I think in broader terms, especially these days, like there's a lot of things that could be considered to me to be a lead magnet into the world that I'm building, right? So I'll say this having written romance books and like how that works and being in the creator entrepreneurship space. But like to me, I have launched actually an in-person meetup group here in Denver. And we have a meetup on Thursday, it'll be the first in person, and then at the end of the month, we have a workshop, right? To me, that in person, like hangout is a lead magnet. They get to meet me, they get to have a chit chat, they see who I am in person. We see if we vibe, like just having an opportunity to do something with people with similar interests outside of just being in your house, I think is a way to lead people into what you're doing with my romance books, to Angela's point earlier, in the chat, I used to have like a mini novella that was the opt-in lead magnet. Like that was a literal thing that I designed in order to get people to get on my list. and then I would do, newsletter exchanges with other romance authors. So I was growing my list and then getting other people and, to sign on, and then they would read my book, and it would lead the free book, and it would lead to the paid offerings. Quite frankly, my I view creators getting paid as a lead magnet. I don't I it is, yes, a newsletter, but to me, it's very much a lead magnet. Like, will people, if I were to do an in-person event, would they be interested in, you know, attending because they've seen me on these live streams, or they've read what I've written in a newsletter. So I think that, like, uh a lead magnet is really whatever it is you've designed in order to bring people into your world.
I have a question, Michelle, because
Yeah.
when you mentioned the 'cause because I'm so extremely literal, when you say lead magnet, I think about the actual way that most people use it, and then when you said you did a meetup, I was like, "Oh, then I do a ton of
Exactly.
lead magnets." Every year we do our event, and it brings it back to a conversation I was having today with someone with the conference we're trying to put together. It's like,
Mhm,
the concern with the team is like, okay, how do we is this, how do we make this more worthwhile for the BPA, which would be membership activations, right? Like, so it's like,
mhm,
which I just automatically thought that that's what we were gonna be doing anyway, but, to communicate it and realize, like, these tools, so, like, our summer social was a way for me to introduce people, and typically, I would see an uptick in registrations for the membership.
mm, mhm,
Um, when we do our sometimes our quarterly meetups that we're about to start doing again, and, the funny part is I'm about to start doing monthly AMAs through the BPA.
oh,
Ask me anything for anybody who doesn't know what that is, but, which is not necessarily the intention of it is to bring attention and bring engagement into the BPA, but it's also to, as a I guess that would be a lead magnet as well because I'm gonna be promoting, joining the community from there. So I didn't think about those as conventional lead magnets, but when you mentioned it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
one of my favorite things to do is to have people, like, when they're coming through town, is just to meet up with people. I've shown people around town safely, like, I've sussed out that they aren't suspect. Or, like, maybe we'll go, on an event or something fun. Some of the, like, there have been very surprising ways that I've been able to bring people into the work that I'm doing, um, and the communities that I'm building, and they've been very, sometimes really super chill, or sometimes very deliberate. What do you think, Angela?
I have an unpopular opinion about lead magnets, which is why I think it took me a long time to make them, even though I've been on Beehive for over a year now. One of them is that I don't feel that lead magnets give you the highest quality of subscribers because they're coming into your list because they're expecting a direct exchange. Like if I give you my email, then I'm going to get a worksheet, a map, a checklist, a calculator, or whatever it is, a free sample of something. And once I get that, you have a very short window in which you can continue to provide value for them in a way that they feel is equal, to giving you access to their inbox each week and staying there for a while. When I look at um, one of the things that I was like, have been trying to look at too is like how many people stay on my newsletter for 6 months or more. So you can see the longevity of people staying on your list versus like my churn rate is always below 1%, so I don't necessarily care about that on like a month to month or a day to day. But when you look at what is the quality of subscriber that stays 6 months or longer, that's really invested in um, the media and the articles that you're sharing with them. I think people who sign up via league magnets are typically the lowest percentage. My highest percentage is people from LinkedIn because those are people that want that type of information and that they don't necessarily want to be chained to a social media feed. So it's just a higher value subscriber. I would say Substack is somewhere in the middle with people who come here, being a little more interested in being on the app because again, Substack is becoming social media. So when they see me in their inbox, they're like, "What? I didn't ask for this. Get out, get away from me." Um, so yeah, so I think there's catch 22 to lead magnets. I think they can be good, but I question if there's a certain type of lead magnet or a certain way to deliver a lead magnet that encourages people to stay on your list longer while fulfilling the value of the lead magnet. I don't know.
Does a lead magnet have to be free?
Yes,
I would argue. Well,
because then it's not a lead
um,
magnet.
then, I mean, are in
I can't hear you, Michelle.
See, I'm not the only one with tech issues. Can't hear you. Wonderful. I guess I'll jump in. I
Real quick, Shamiko has a comment. I think this is mainly for you, Corey. Shamiko says events aren't free. I would say if an event is not free, then it's probably not a lead magnet. Like if you look at what you call uh Creator Economy NYC, Brian Dashevsky, or I don't know if his name is Brian,
yeah, right.
but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um the guy Dashevsky who used to work with Kickstarter, like all of his creator events are free and how he monetizes them is through sponsorships. So that's why his list has grown so much because it's like a free hangout for attendees. Sponsors pay, potentially people pay for drinks and they get a percentage of the bar tab. But ultimately, um, those are his lead magnets, which is why his list is so big. If you were to look at someone who does paid events, right? Those are likely people that already have a familiarity with the brand or they're taking a chance because they got a recommendation from someone else. So you can bring in new people through paid events, but I would say that paid events by themselves, virtual or in person, are unlikely to be a great source of discovery for people you don't have a warm connection with. But I'm open to your thoughts. Corey?
I mean, if it's free, then technically it is a lead magnet, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I said. I said if the event is not free, then it's probably
But
not. But
yeah,
if it is free, then you're going to get more people in the door because, of course.
yeah. But it could be a lead magnet also if it's paid because you might have a higher tier of service product, couldn't it?
If I'm paying for Afros and Audio, for example, to go there, I'm paying because and I may be a new person, like, my first year, I was new to Afros and Audio, so maybe in that sense, you may think, "Okay, well, this is a free or, like, a way to get people to discover who Afros and Audio is." But again, like, how do you keep people in the ecosystem that is Afros and Audio beyond me going to an event? So that's why it's and then, like, what's the level of discovery? Like, let's say 200, 250 people go to Afros and Audio, and that's a once a year event because it's paid. Brett Dashevsky, that's his name, Brett. He hosts free events in New York City every month and he gets thousands of new subscribers and, like new people every year. That is a very big disparity in terms of discovery. So a paid event, yes, it can bring in new people, but the amount of new people discovering an event and then being willing to pay for it is going to be way less than someone who's regularly hosting free events.
As somebody who's done paid events and free events, I'll say this, and I wanna Michael Motley says, if I'm paying, then, I already know you." I could tell you from running the summer social for the past couple of years that we've actually I would say paid events can be lead generation because there's people who signed up who learned about my event the day of and came through and were like, "I didn't even know this existed," and it became and that's how we capture them into the ecosystem. They sign up for the newsletter, some of them sign up to become members, some of them start showing up at more events continually, so, like, I don't know, I think it's how you structure your paid event because if I have something more to offer so you use Afro's Audio, problem with Afro's Audio, they didn't have anything to offer after that, so I could see why you would feel that way, but somebody like me that might do an event, and then that's a lead to the community or to something else that we're doing, to me, that would be a lead gen.
So here's again, going back to what I said. It can be. Again, I paid for Afros and Audio without really knowing much about the brand. It was just recommended to me from other people, like you said. But again, it's a paid event, high production event, happens once a year, maybe a couple hundred people, versus something that's free that you can, it's almost turnkey. You're doing it much more frequently. It's getting way more people in the door. It's going to be a way bigger element of discovery than a paid event. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
And
I
I'm
think
not saying
this
people
is
shouldn't do paid events. That's.
I think this is a lead magnet, like this doing this live stream.
It is, but it's free.
However, it's free. But I
But
do think that there are things that I've done that are paid that have led me to something else. And so I think that the question becomes, what is the something else that you're leading me to, right? So, like, it could be, um, a high ticket, like, event or community that I wanna be a part of. It could be that I go to a conference and then, I'm able to access other things because of the conference, and that's an upsell. So I've paid to go there, but there's, upsells somewhere in that ecosystem. Um, Also, yay, 101! Yay! I'm so excited. Hmm.
you just stopped
Not
mid-sentence.
not listening.
I'm reading,
There you go,
okay?
there you go.
All these, like, I get distracted by all the chit chat on the chatter is good, but then I have to pause and read it because 'cause I'm nosy. I'm nosy. Michael! Okay, he's like,
I mean, Samantha asked a great question.
What's the
Samantha,
question?
EDU LPC
Okay.
said, "Is this live a lead magnet?"
Yes. We haven't said to what, but yes.
I mean, I put it in the I felt that abrupt stop so deeply. Yeah, see? Okay, I wasn't the only one that noticed it, Samantha. I'm glad you noticed it. That's
Whatever.
funny. Yeah. Like I said, yeah, I think the live stream could be a lead magnet. I mean, it's free. We do it every week. Um, and it's not, something that's new under the sun. A lot of YouTubers go live for discovery purposes. So,
Well, I think it's a lead magnet always to capture the lead right immediately. Like, for instance, like this live stream puts us in front of a larger audience because we all have our different audiences. I feel like it's a lead magnet for our personal brands as well as our business brands.
yeah.
So even though it may be a little bit more touch points in order to get somebody to eventually, because I mean, I could tell you, like, we get, and we probably all seen it after a live. You typically see an uptick in subscriptions,
Mhm,
right? For whatever reason, right? So, like, yeah, I would say it is, but I also look at it as using lives and stuff like this, like these kind of mediums, also help build your brand because people get to know you over time. You see our personalities and everything, and then you got a little fan base that might be, wanting to willing to check out all the other things you have going on.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the nature of things. Like, I think when lead magnets, to my understanding, and I know we're going to talk about lead magnets specifically now and while people are like maybe leveraging AI to create them, but lead magnets for me got really big when like Twitter was really big. So if people would write, these really popular tweets or threads, and then at the end of it, be like, hey, if you like this thread, you would love my newsletter. Or, hey, if you want to learn how to do this, here's a free whatever you can download now. Um, Justin Welsh, um, Justin Moore, a lot of people that you're probably familiar with, they would eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner off of Twitter. Just doing that, just posting once every day, once or twice every day, having a little lead magnet at the end or a call to action at the end, and they would eat. And we're talking about people that now have 50K plus, 200K plus on their newsletters. Um, that culture has died down a lot. Um, it's not really there on Twitter anymore. It has not made its way to Threads yet, from what I've seen. And LinkedIn, nobody cares enough about LinkedIn posts for that to be effective. So it's kind of died down, but I think it definitely has had its heyday, and it still definitely has its place in terms of new subscriber acquisition.
So so should we bother with lead magnets? Like, what's the point of a lead magnet if it feels like it's pointless?
I never said it was pointless.
No,
I
no,
just
I'm just throwing it out. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, what's the point? Like, if it feels like it's not really doing anything and the leads aren't that good, what should we do instead?
I can only answer from my perspective of why I started to use lead magnets. So because I have Beehive, I'm able to create specific sequences around lead magnets to warm them up to who I am. And that for me was the only reason I did it. I was like, if there's any way that I can like create a way for to go from somebody who's cold and just looking for something specific to somebody who's more warm and can like really come in and feel welcomed into a space, I think that again, is a part of, how you look at your newsletter. If you look at it as a community space where people are not just meant to, get something, but also give something back and be a part of making that community better, then I think that's an important way to look at lead magnets. It's like, okay, if you're a person who downloaded this, you care about X, Y, and Z things. And if you care about those things, give me feedback on how I can best serve you and how you can contribute to making this community better. Um, and so for me, that's why I've done it. I do think they have a purpose. Do I expect to blow up off of lead magnets? No. Do I expect to get the right people and bring them into our community? Yes. And hopefully provide an experience that makes them want to stay. Like I said, for me, at least 6 months. I think that's a really good indicator of how warm someone is. So
I also think, a lead magnet that a lot of coaches do is like a free consultation, like a mini call with them, right? To
Mhm.
even see if you're a good fit with somebody else. And then if you find that to be the case, then they book a paid call, right?
I've offered that. I've done a
How's it
lot of
gone?
different things in my welcome message. I've done a lot of different things. I've been doing bold shit in there. But but that was one thing I was like, "Hey, thanks for joining. If wanna talk." I don't know what language I used, but I was like, "Hey, you can book a 15-minute call with me here. I would
Mhm,
just love to welcome you to the community." I would say most people didn't take me up on it, but the people that did, it was, like, very eye-opening, and just
mhm,
very interesting. And I think it made the community better a lot faster, because I was able to, like, check in with people and be like, "Hey, what made you sign up? What things would make this valuable for you?" Um, yeah, those sort of things, and, it made it better, but then, of course, as you grow, it's like, "Okay, this isn't sustainable for
Right.
me to do
right.
for everybody
No.
signing up,"
Yeah.
so I had to cut it off, but I have done it, and I think if you're under 1,000, that's, like, the easiest way to get, like, your loyal fans and, like, keep your open rates high and, like, keep people around because they feel like, I didn't just sign up for another newsletter, like, I really signed up for someone who's, like, invested in my success.
They're not used to that. Yeah.
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 Mm,
I mean, that's not like you said, it's not sustainable. I think the whole purpose of these way lead magnets are set up are to automate the process, right? Like
Yeah.
mhm,
that you're not putting a whole lot of man hours, or people hours, I should say, into excuse me, into trying to get your close rate up, right? So like, um, and I think that's the dilemma I'm having. Why I've been a little cautious on like how if we do lead magnets for the BPA, how do we go about it? Because I feel like the community is the lead magnet, and
mhm,
actually, a lot of my members are lead magnets because they're constantly
right.
referring people. So I think that to me is more valuable than giving somebody a free worksheet or something that. Because I mean, I sign up for worksheets and stuff, and then I instantly regret it because then I get flooded by these streams of like, bro, like I just signed up. Why am I getting like 6 emails from you within a 1 week thing to purchase all these products? I didn't sign up for that. The ones I do like are the ones that give you, like, the use cases and data and all that stuff, but that's intentional 'cause I'm looking for that stuff, so it's like, "Okay, you got this report, let me check it out, let me see what your study was," right? Um, but I think overall for me, like, I think that's one reason why I'm a little like, trying to figure out what's the right if there's a right balance. Or maybe what we're doing already, what we've been doing with the in-person events and doing stuff that way might be I think it's more of a better use of our resources than me just saying, "Hey, sign up for a free, something." That really
What's the
that most likely I don't even know if they're using it or not. Like, somebody like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I was cleaning out my computer, I had a ton of downloads, and I was just like, "I got all these PDFs and stuff I don't even use. I don't even like, whatever I downloaded it for, I'm way past that moment now." You know what I'm saying? So and
you
then
know
I
what?
subscribe to you.
I wonder? Okay, so one, what is it that people are asking you? Like, when they're like, what's the conversation behind the scenes? Because whatever it is the frequently asked question, that's the lead magnet. Like, that could literally be the thing. Like, what's the thing that they're all needing help with? Is it, like, people finding their show? Is it community? Is it, like, tech? Or is it a couple of different things? Because whatever they're asking for, that's probably a really good lead magnet.
Most
That being said, you could also dream up the thing that they are missing. Like for me with the Black Podcasters Association, for me, I'm wanting, like, a comprehensive, like, list of Black podcasts. Like, I want that, like, where are they? That it or just something that I could just geek out about, you know, very specific to just listening to content that I otherwise would have a hard time hearing,
Well, for
or
me,
finding.
I like you brought that up because the question for me, I'll use that, right? Because that is a
Mhm,
that is a conversation that happened that I've been having with myself as well as the team that I have now, right? It's to me, I get the lead generation part of it, but to me, that's gatekeeping something that we shouldn't be gatekeeping, which is I should be figuring out how do I use my platform, whether it's we create a directory or something like
mhm,
that, because now I'm trading you for something that I feel as part of our the whole purpose of why our organization exists. You get what I'm saying? It's like that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't wanna gatekeep in that capacity. I wanted this information. Yes, do we need, like, a central location or something for that information to make it easier for people to follow or
mhm.
find? Yeah. So is that just us putting out a public directory that anybody can come and search and figuring out which tool helps us do that the best and makes it an easy experience for people looking for it? Or do we put it behind, "Hey, give us your email, and we'll give you a comprehensive list or something or access to something that we created for you." And that makes me feel a little the G word,
Um, I don't know what the G word is.
Hey,
grifting, 'cause I
guys.
know I've been trying not
Oh,
to say it.
oh, but actually, I wanna point out I wanna say one thing, though, and one of the things I've been thinking about quite a bit, actually, is safety. And so I I as you were talking about having this list, like, be creating a list like this, right? For me, in this moment that we're in now, I won't.
Oh, bruh.
She froze.
Hopefully I don't know what's up with Substack tonight. We're having some technical difficulties tonight, y'all.
Yeah.
Um,
I did wanna address there's quite a few questions in the comments.
okay, we can do that
Uh,
till we back.
yeah, there was one from Samantha. She said, "As a therapist, would a consultation call be a lead magnet?" Um, I feel like a consultation if it's something that you know you would prefer to do paid and is a part of your revenue stream, I wouldn't give it away for free. Um, and again, it can be unscalable as you have a full load of clients. I would try to think of something else that would be educational and helpful and resourceful, that doesn't require you to be consistently giving away your time, um, as a therapist. But those are just my thoughts. Um, we also had a lot of talk about LinkedIn. Michael, what do you create? Because you said, I don't know where my content fits on LinkedIn.
While you waiting for that, can I go back to the
Yeah,
therapy thing? Because
yeah.
in my mind, I would think a consult is a lead generation. One is establishing one, you're getting somebody to sign up with you, whatever the process is. Hopefully, you're capturing that email from them so that maybe you can follow up if in case things don't work out the way you want them to or that you don't close. But then it's also an opportunity for them to get, to know who you I think because a therapist is kind of a more of a person that you do have to have, like, that interaction to see if there's a fit from a therapist point of view as well as from the client point of view, right? Is this a proper fit? It's just not
But
scam
are they more valuable as an email subscriber or as a client?
well, I guess
Client.
it depends on what your strategy goes, right? If you're doing free consultations, the whole goal is to turn them into a client.
But if there are under the guise that they need to give you their email for that and then be signed up for things that, for emails that aren't relevant to them as a client, then like that defeats the purpose. I think too, like there also needs to be a discussion around like having an email list and lead magnets as a service-based provider and as a creator and as a writer. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you as a
Mhm,
freelancer, having an email list that I sent out articles to was not relevant to my clients. They didn't care about that. They cared about the service that I provided. So me getting them on a consultation call because they gave me their email, again, you have two competing interests here. Like the email list, does not have to if you're a service-based provider specifically, I don't think needs to be, you know, a way to get in new clients. I think that should be separate,
I
but that's just me.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna say that it takes X amount of touches in order to close somebody, right? I think for and especially something as tricky as therapy, where sometimes some people are uncomfortable. Like if you have a email sequence of some sort in which it makes them, educates and makes them feel comfortable to a point where they finally decide to follow through with you. I think that's where it works, right? Like it's in that capacity where you
I
help
think
to
you're
lead.
assuming that email has to be a touch point. When I was a freelancer, I never needed email to close a deal. But that's just me though. That's just me though.
Yeah, but I think it depends on the service because therapy, especially for a lot of people that come from communities, and I'm telling this is from my own experience working in that space. It's just not like, oh, I want therapy. Let me just go find a therapist, right? It's a process for some people that uncomfortable process that they have to go through. So if I'm a therapist and I'm using my uh, email slash newsletter to help generate business, sometimes it's a sequence of how do I get this person to feel comfortable enough to even just when they decide they're ready to pull the trigger and to come to my to call me instead of calling someone else.
Like a
But do I wanna be
pre-assessment
on
tool,
but
a pre oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say, again, for a service-based business and we can stay on the therapist thing, like, for example, when I was going to try to get my pap smear, this may be TMI, I don't care, we're already there now, but, like, I called 3 different places. I
No,
don't wanna be on 3 different
Ah,
email lists just because I'm trying to get a doggone pap smear. Just, like, tell me when to cut.
but
Yeah, but
Like,
but
it's
that's
different than
not
going to
that's not
therapy from somebody who thinks they need help because it's the therapist part is the part that's really got me like, "Hmm," because I know that it's not for even, like, some people who've asked me for referrals to therapists that I know, and I 6 months later, I'm like, "Did you make that phone call?" It's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it." And for
that has
someone
nothing to do with you. That's on them. If I'm a
no, what I'm
therapist
saying
and
is
I'm
that
starting an email list,
but if I was a therapist and I started a newsletter like, I'm using this as a strategy, I'm using, lead gen as a way to get clients, there
then
I
I'm
have
not giving them a consultation call. Then I'm using it as thought
I'm
leadership, not as customer intake.
You know who has me on their list? My dentist. My dentist has me on their list for something. They text message me, like they are in a communication with me. So maybe I think maybe again we're being really literal about what that lead like
right,
putting someone on the list will do. Like maybe sometimes you're just on a list so that people can communicate with you.
Correct,
Like
and
the
that's different.
like once you're a client. So there's like maybe like if I'm a therapist and I'm working with a certain clientele, maybe and the clientele is nervous to say yes to therapy because sometimes people are nervous to do therapy. Maybe you're like, here's a video of me talking about the issue that you have and this is something that might help you better decide if I'm a good person for you. And in full disclosure, I'm going to send you an additional video after that. And then you could just be like, that's it. I'm going to send you 2 videos and then you stop the sequence. That's it. And then that's a way to warm up your connection with the person on the list. And because people don't have to have people on weird, endless, like, sequences and all that stuff. They could just stop. They could just be like, "This is what I'm doing, and that's it. Here you go." You know what I mean?
Okay, I was about to type
Michael, that's
something really
funny.
long, but all I'm gonna say is, because Samantha wrote in the comments, she said, "I can see how having touch points after the consultation might be helpful to stay engaged with someone. I think a concern might be if a client doesn't want to stay connected with the provider." Again, so as a consultation, let's say like your current workflow is now someone reaches out to you, you have a consultation to see if you accept their insurance, if they're a good fit, if you're going to be available when they would like to schedule an appointment, all those things like intake things for a therapist, right? And then now let's say, maybe you aren't able to accommodate them for whatever reason, but you have their email. So their email goes on this list where you're talking about, I don't know, whatever mental health resources for them and things like that. Um, that to me is not the best use of that. I think if someone's coming to you with a consultation, I would only keep their email list if you're providing a service for them. Otherwise, you're just on like 300 providers' emails list and you didn't ask for that. All you asked for was an appointment. Versus someone coming in because they're like, I would like more resources in how to talk to my kids about burnout or how to talk to them about how to dealing with heavy emotions, something like that. Like if you're doing, you know, thought leadership around mental health for a specific audience, they're coming in that way. They're not necessarily coming to you because they want to schedule an appointment. Will they schedule an appointment for them or their kids in the future? Maybe, but that doesn't mean you need to be giving away a 15-minute consultation for everybody who gets on an email list about that specific topic on mental health. These are just my thoughts and opinions, though.
I wanna add a
But
disclaimer to
but
this. If you
go ahead.
are licensed by a state body or federal body or something like that, you need to definitely check what's the regulations in regards to ethics, in regards to your particular service field
Mhm.
on that. And then for anybody else listening, you definitely have to make sure what a lead any lead gen that you are following the rules that FTC and the federal rules in regards to that, because you don't wanna get caught up in that headache.
And also, any lead magnet should have a clearly shown, way to unsubscribe from that or to be like, "This isn't for me." So, typically, the idea is that you have willingly said yes to the opt-in, to the lead magnet. It's not that all of a sudden you're randomly on, all of a sudden you're on some list.
Don't do
Like,
that. Don't do
yeah,
that.
you've given permission as the signee to receive information, what have you, from the other person. But I want to flip this around. So, like, I'm still kind of thinking about just like safety and things like that. But I do want to talk about if there are no lead magnets, how do you lead people to what you're doing? Like, and it could, like, what how do you communicate what you can do if there's no lead magnet? Like, how do we
Good
imagine that
good old
to
fashioned
We
happen?
bait
can't be we can't be serious.
the good
No,
old
no,
fashioned
I'm
bait and
just
switch.
this is why we're doing what was that?
The good old fashioned bait and switch.
Oh, what?
That's
Where is this
what it
going?
means.
Oh
I
my
think
lord.
It's
okay,
not ethical, but that's how it would work
I
like.
I just no, I don't that's not no.
no,
I'm saying I feel like Angela is like, "I'm not really a fan of this." This is my read, okay?
no, that's not
And
true, but keep going.
but that's how I'm perceiving it, so I'm wrong,
I
which
have
is
lead
fine.
magnets. I'm not
No, no,
against lead magnets.
no, but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't seem like a thing you're super excited about. I could be wrong, okay?
No, that's
I'm
incorrect. I think what I'm
okay,
trying to say is, like, lead magnets are just one piece of the pie, and you need to be, like,
okay.
understanding that what type of subscriber you're getting from a lead magnet, someone who's expecting something delivered very quickly, and what you're willing to do to make sure that not only are you delivering on that quickly, but you're also finding ways to warm them up to you as a person outside of just that one thing that you delivered, right? That's all I'm saying. I think, again, I've talked about Substack, live streams, whether they're on Substack or something else, I think are lead magnets. I think, there's a lot of ways you can package a lead magnet. But
Mhm,
again, lead magnets should only be one part of your marketing and distribution plan for your newsletter and for your podcast or for whatever it is. Um, and, you just have to understand what that uh, I'm talking with my hands, but what that puzzle piece or what that pie looks like for you. If you're expecting, like for me, it's, a pretty small amount right now that's coming in from lead magnets.
mhm,
I probably would say a lot of people here on Substack are benefiting from the recommendation network. There's some people who maybe are doing really well on notes. I'm not someone who's done well on Substack notes with generating those to subscribers, but sure, there's some people are because I see them all the time posting. That's word of mouth. People may be doing in-person events like Shamiko and Corey were talking about, like doing in-person events for lead magnets and discovery. They may be speaking at events. Me and Michelle have both spoken at events, and that's generated new email subscribers for us. There's a lot of ways to market a newsletter. A lead magnet is just one that, to Shamiko's point, it is work, but you do the work upfront and then it just kind of repeats forever and it's automated. So that's what I'm trying to clarify here. I'm not anti lead magnet. I'm just saying like we need to be honest about what lead magnets are and the
mhm.
quality of subscriber that they give.
I think it'd be interesting to hear like, what it looks like behind the scenes for us, like, what we're thinking about, like, as people come into our community, our onto our list, if you will, and then go from there. So, I feel like it's always something that we're tinkering on, of course. I'll be happy to go first. So one, I never go first, so it's funny. What? He does well, actually.
That's what I was
Michael
laughing
does
at,
well.
actually.
Yeah,
That's what I was
he
laughing at.
does well. Whatever, Michael. So for me, my goal, with growing my newsletter and growing my list, initially, I just wanted to grow it so that I could protect my brand. Like, I wasn't necessarily leading people to another thing, but, especially at the beginning because the thing I thought was the product was the newsletter. As time has gone on, it is very clear to me the newsletter is the lead magnet. The product is something else. So I've created a membership that is not housed on Substack. Um, I have products, things like that, that I've decided I would like to sell. I have a book that I'm writing, and then I have other things that I sell for my other brands. Um, I think working through the fact that the newsletter isn't the product was a huge deal. I think that's something that a lot of people get tripped up on, where they're like, "The newsletter, we're gonna make money and we're gonna get all these subscribers." By the way, thank you to the dear person who subscribed today and paid. Um, but it would take so many people to, like, subscribe at the rate.
Oh, no. So she froze first,
It's
and
all that
now I can't
wonderful
hear her,
it's all that wonderful weather in Denver messing with their internet connections. Do you wanna
unfortunately.
go until she comes back and finishes her point? Do you wanna do yours?
Oh god. I can keep going actually on Michelle's point. I think what Michelle's saying is really interesting because she's looking at her newsletter as almost like a top of funnel for the rest of her business, the things that make money. Um, whether that be affiliates, whether that be her membership that she's doing, whether that be future courses that she writes. She's looking at the newsletter as kind of like the top of funnel, like that's what leads people into paying.
Yes. I
Uh,
think there's something wrong with the internet. I it's not the
I personally think something going on with Substack because you remember it took us so long to connect, and then we got rushed with all the people, so
yeah. Um,
alright.
I was
Um
co-signing what you were saying, Michelle, basically that like if you're a business owner, then looking at your newsletter as like your top of funnel for marketing is
mhm.
an interesting way of thinking about, okay, how can I write the best articles possible that make people want to either become a paid member or use an affiliate link for us or buy a course, like something else that is a productized something that costs money. And the newsletter just is going to remain free. Um, so yeah.
Dee Dee, a lion. It is unstable, Dee Dee. Ah! Yeah, like, it could be, I've been floating this idea. I've asked people about it a little bit, but I was like, would people want to come to Denver for, like, a weekend, you know? Um, and the newsletter has been a great way for people to tell me yes or no, like, to share ideas, to, like, just test certain things out. I will say that both myself and Angela email off the platform now. Um, and it's been interesting because I just started doing that a couple weeks ago. And so I'm just kind of working through that change, but I think I'm gonna be happier with that piece of the brand being off of the platform. So, but I do think it's important to think about what is what is being on the list, like, what's the purpose to that, and what's the journey that you're taking people on. So, like, for me, again, I have that book that I'm writing. And so my goal with the book is to actually have people to buy the book. And so really wrapping my head around, how do I get people to know that a book is coming? How do I get them in, like, maybe they're already in my community, but maybe I tag them in a different way so that I know that they're interested. Like, there's just different things that you can do to help you better, uh, market the work that you're doing, even if it's something you're not charging for.
I try to look at what I'm doing, like, how do I get you into the I look at things from, like you said, a journey, like, what's the journey I wanna take you on? Where's like, where am I trying to lead you? Like, okay, you're on the
Mm,
newsletter, but where does the newsletter take you? You're a part of the community, where does that take you? I kinda wanna keep you on the, like, this endless journey of, like, okay, yeah, but wait, there's more, right? So, like, there's more
yeah.
but I always try to, like, when I do things, even when I work with clients, it's like, okay, what is the goal of what we're trying? Because you wanna be intentional, right? You wanna
Mhm,
and people love throwing that word out there, and then when you watch what they're doing, it's like, "But what is" I can't tell what the intention is, right? Like, I don't know what it is you're really trying to do. It's confusing, and, the like, I had a friend who wanted to start a podcast, and he wrote a book, and he wanted to do it, and I was like, "But, this you have this great idea, and you're just stopping right here, right? You just wanted to do a podcast and a newsletter." But I was like, but I see a community here. I see eventually you doing certifications and
mm,
creating a business out of this that where you certify people, they can go out and redo, he wrote like a self-help thing. But I was like, and you can do like that and then you can broaden the experience. So I look at like, even right now, I'm reevaluating the onboarding for Black Pod News. Like, I've been, like,
mm.
really sitting down thinking about how do I turn this because the experience I know is not great, right? It's very simple. You sign up, you get a
Mine
newsletter,
too.
you get a letter that says, "Hey, thank you," and that's it. And I'm like, "Well, I don't wanna inundate people with a bunch of, like, a sequence, but I wanna at least let you know, like, hey, by the way, outside of just being a reader, we have these options for you to submit content for if you're a podcaster, you want to be featured, or if you're a freelancer and you need help getting hired, we have a section for you, and and kind of point out the things that we want to promote within the newsletter, and then use the newsletter at times to promote things that we're doing in the Black Podcast Association or what's going on around the industry. So, because I truly believe for me with the community, the more knowledge you have, the better decisions you make in this space, right? Or the better choices or the better avenues, the better journey you can have for yourself in regards to how you deal with challenges versus just, raw dogging the podcast. And you're like, all right, I'm just gonna jump in the pool and see what happens. Like you said earlier, Michelle, what is the response I get? And a lot of times is I thought I was in this by myself.
Mm,
Or I
mhm,
I didn't know this existed, and I was feeling alone, right? So, like, I always take that, and I'm like, "Well, how do we create experience so you don't feel like that anymore, and you stay connected?" So, for me, and I think what the nature of my newsletter and what I'm doing is a little bit different than a lot of people's because I have a community, and then the newsletter is really more of a newspaper slash,
mm,
like a magazine type of format versus, me trying to use it as a lead gen to sell products and stuff, like,
mhm,
so my approach is a little bit different. So my journey, my goal is how do I get you into our ecosystem and show you the value of our ecosystem and what you're trying to accomplish with your content creation slash podcasting career.
mm.
I thought you froze for a second, Angela.
No, no, sorry.
Like,
I was like, "Where do we go from here?" We've been going for, like, an hour, so I just
This is
wanna
a
thank
good conversation.
all 118
God
of
dang.
you for, like, hanging with us. It's been
We
good.
breaking records. Been breaking our records for 3 weeks now, y'all. Like,
Yeah,
shout
well,
out
it's
to everybody that's joining us, man. I
new
appreciate
year, new
Oh, it's fine.
energy. We started off with my birthday, so I'm just gonna say that my birthday ushered in a great year of, like
It did, it did.
of community here on Substack. If there are no more questions, we'd be happy to answer your questions, but if there are no more questions, we can start wrapping up if you guys are cool with it.
and now comes the lead gen part.
For 29.99. I'm sure I don't have anything to sell you guys. But I do write 2 newsletters if you are at all interested. Um, One of them is Please Hustle Responsibly, which is a newsletter for creators and entrepreneurs who want to learn, grow, and connect. The other one is Melanin MVP. We're going to be talking about Unrivaled 1v1, which is coming up, March Madness, which is coming up. Just did a really incredible article on some of the Black women who are competing at the Winter Olympics. So, what mocktail?
I'm
Say more
juicy.
words, Shamiko. Um, but yeah, I know I don't have paid subscriptions on, so Michael, don't try me. So it's all free. Just come hang out with us on those 2 platforms if you're interested at all. Yeah. Michelle.
Hey, everyone. Again, thank you so much. I don't know why I kept dropping off, but thank you so much for your patience. I run the newsletter Creators Getting Paid. My goal is to help people grow their lists so that they can protect the work that they're building and the communities that they're serving. I also run a website podcast called Square State Colorado. That sounds delicious, Shamiko. Square State Colorado, and it does have a newsletter called Cowtown Colorado, or excuse me, Cowtown Denver. But I have not been working on it just because I've been sick. So anyway, I appreciate your just you guys being here. There's 120 of you. This has been a lot of work on our part to even hit these numbers. So thank you so much. Corey.
My name is Corey Gums. I'm the founder of the Black Podcast Association as well as Black Pod News, a newsletter right here on Substack, blkpodnews.com. So you can subscribe. If yes, we have paid subscriptions on there, and your paid subscription need to manage the newsletter and also pay my contributors to the newsletter. So I do appreciate that. As well as I am taking on consulting clients. So if you have any questions or anything you would like to talk to me about, maybe I see I can help you in the podcast space, feel free to reach out to me, shoot me a message here on Substack, or you can find me on LinkedIn. That's Corey, Corey Gums, Gumbs on LinkedIn.
His voice got deep. Gums.
And Wepa.
What are we talking about next week? We made a list, but I'm just not looking at it.
I'm having a
And
fun. If you give me a
I'm
second.
afraid to like move things around because it'll probably drop me off the thing again.
And yeah, subscribe to our newsletter so you can, at least stay up to date on what we're doing.
Tomorrow,
Tuesday.
please do. Tomorrow I'm writing about how big tech is killing your brand. So I'm very excited about that post.
I don't know what I'm writing about tomorrow, guys.
Angela is badass and she's doing a 28-day challenge.
I've already missed
Every
one day, friend, so I'm gonna have to, like, double up this
we didn't
weekend.
know. Just we don't know about that. Just lie. Like
But to be for real, though, not that anybody
Sorry.
cares, but I went on my first bike ride of the year last year, and I think, like, from the time that I finished to the time that I ate something was just too long, and it, like,
Wait, how
wiped
long
me
was
out.
this ride?
Well, it was like a 10-mile ride, it was short, it was just, like, my
That's
first
not
ride
No,
of the year, but, like,
yeah.
oh, whatever, you live in New York and you don't ride bikes? Come on. That is a travesty
I
unto
do
itself.
20 miles a day, but I'm just saying 10 miles is not a joke either. But
Yeah.
so next week we're doing we're gonna be talking about video podcasts.
Yay! On the street no, on a separated trail network, I'm not that crazy yet.
I ride on the streets of New York. It's fun
'Cause y'all
time.
got bike lanes.
No, I was riding on the streets of New York before the bike lanes were even thought about being put in New York.
Lord have mercy.
All
Michelle,
right.
we can't hear you. Oh, and she froze. Okay, well, I think that's the end of it for us, guys.
All right, everybody. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
Bye.